This is the new Lectric XPedition 2.0. It is an amazing cargo bike. In my opinion, definitely going to be the #1 cargo bike for 2025. It may even hit the #1 cargo bike for 2024. It has some crazy, amazing upgrades that they've actually done to it. You know, there's so much to talk about. Let's go ahead and see the review. We'll go over all the specs and then some ride footage, and you'll see why I think this is just going to be one amazing cargo bike for the competitors to try to catch up on. Let's get started on the review.
Lectric XPedition zooming through the streets, 750 watts of power underneath my feet. Cargo's in the back, got a 450 load, replacing my old car, making new roads. Cruising past the traffic, never gonna be late. 28 miles an hour, feeling real great. Over 200 miles, never stopping to refuel. This new ride's got me feeling cool. Riding high on my e-bike, electric power feels just right. Hauling heavy, flying fast. This new ride is built to last.
This is the Lectric XPedition 2.0. I'm sitting on here because it is actually really comfortable. But just to kind of point out, a rider can actually be on this. This bike is rated to hold up to 450 pounds total payload capacity, which means you could probably hold a couple of small kids and also have your rider on here and be able to go a lot of different places. Lectric did come out with the #1 selling cargo bike when they came out with the XPedition 1.0. This is the 2.0. So I was wondering what kind of upgrades they could actually have with this. And they're now using torque sensors in their bikes, and they have a very finely tuned torque sensor. It's not like your average torque sensor that's out there. So we were able to go ahead and get this tested out. We rode the trails and some canal lines, and it was a blast, and they've done a great job in updating it. Now, the 1.0 was an amazing bike. The 2.0 will be even better, and one of the reasons is, one of many reasons. Let's start with the back of the bike here. One, the bike framing is now longer than it used to be, so you do have more stability. It's a few inches longer. They also have new accessories. The orbiter that's now coming with it, it's an added accessory that you can buy, but if you have kids, it's a lot more sturdy, a lot more beefy. Steve, who was actually what you see in the video with us riding together, he takes his kids to school to and from almost every day with his bike that he has of the Expedition with the old Orbiter. And when he saw the upgrades, he thought it was absolutely perfect. So they were definitely listening to people's critiques of what could be improved, and they put it on this bike. It still has a 750 watt motor that goes over 1,300 watts total power. Pretty amazing stuff. And again, it's almost whisper quiet. They also will have these kind of coverings that you're going to see right now. This is the pre-production model that just came out, but when the models start to come out, they're going to have these coverings on here for more protection so that kids' feet or things don't get stuck in the spokes around here. And you'll notice even the orbiters, when you see the pictures that come out, there's just a lot more beefy. The pads, they're pretty much the same pads that came on the 1.0, still very comfortable to sit in and ride in, and just an absolute blast. It's a 2.5-inch wide tire width, so you know, they're not like fat tires that are super soft, but what it does mean is that they are very efficient for a lot of great mileage, just very good for street riding. This has been tested for the new cargo bike testing rating. I'll have this rating numbers here on the bottom of the screen. The industry has actually come out with standards to qualify for certified cargo bikes, and they've qualified it all the way through. One thing that they also did is they beefed up all the tubing on the bike, so it's stronger. There's nothing wrong with the old 1.0, but now why not make it stronger? They did. This is a stronger bike as well. Kickstand has been made wider, a wider base that you see here. This here gives it more stability, and it's also stronger. Now, we found that it kind of makes the bike a little harder to get on and off the stand because it's so like beefy and strong. There's, you know, you gotta have trade-offs. If you want something stronger, it's gonna have to be probably more heavy duty, and it definitely feels it. It definitely has its good weight and balance, because some of the things you always gotta be concerned about, if you have your kids being loaded on the stand, it is not too hard to think that, you know, if they start shifting their balance, that the bike could fall over. But with a stand this wide now, there's going to be a lot more safety and stability. So as we move a little more forward toward the bike here, I want to point out we have 2 batteries, and they're going to have 3 battery options with this bike here. I think with some of the capacity, I think it goes up to like 35 amp hours total. It can go over 200 miles and maybe even up to 220 miles. That covers the range that you can with full largest size batteries that come with this. I'll have a listing right here on the side of the screen of all the 3 different sizes or options of your batteries that you're going to be able to get. Now, of course, the larger the battery, the higher the cost. But for most people, in most industries and most companies, they all say that people do upgrade batteries quite frequently, because that is the #1 concern, is range anxiety. So, you know, if you're thinking about getting one of these and you're debating about the size of the battery, I highly recommend just looking at getting the larger size battery, and you don't have to worry about it. Now, here's something that they still have not actually worked and integrated in. Just so you know, if you have 2 batteries, you do need to charge each battery independently. They do have chargers that are coming out that are 5 amp chargers that are fast chargers. So you could actually pick up, it's going to come with 1 charger anyway. Maybe pick up a fast charger, a secondary charger, and then you could plug these in and you'll have both batteries charged up. And you know, Lectric is very well aware that a lot of people want to be able to charge one port, does both batteries, but at right now, the price point that they are keeping this price at, this is still going to be the same price as the 1.0. And not necessarily a deal killer, but just so that you're aware, you know, there's 2 different batteries, has to be charged separately, so 2 chargers will have to be plugged in. Let's go ahead and move a little bit forward right here to the seat area here. It does come with their standard electric seats. It's they're cushiony enough. I typically like to do upgrade. They do offer the comfort package seats so that they're a little wider, a little softer, and for most people, they might want to opt for that. But a lot of people who are typically used to riding, this seat does an adequate job for sure. This does also come with a double extended type adjustment seat, so you can actually have a lot of ranges of heights. I believe it can even go like all the way up to like 6'4". That's something pretty cool to actually be able to have, so that there's a lot more versatility on the riders. As we get closer down to the middle, I just want to point out also, this is the controller box. This controller is a 24 amp controller, which means it can, combined with the 48-volt batteries, you have over 1,300 watts of power that gets pushed out of this bike, and you totally feel it. And of course, you need it when you're going to having a lot of cargo. Now, I also want to point out the brakes. As we look down here, we have hydraulic brakes, and these brakes work awesome. These are 180 millimeter rotors as well, so you have a ton of stopping power, no problem with the brakes, soft as butter, and yeah, it's actually something that's just an absolute must when it comes to having a bike like that. You also have the same 180 millimeter rotors in the front and hydraulic brakes here. And as we come up the fork, I do want to point out that this is a through axle attachment here for your front rim. So you can take off the front tire if you get a flat. You can actually pull this out, unscrew it, pull it out pretty easily. And that's one thing that's really nice about the way that they did this. It does come with fenders, front and back. And then we also have front headlight. This is integrated as well. And on top of some of these lighting systems, we'll get back to the back side of the bike a little later, but it also comes, when you turn this on, it also has a nice night light, tail light, and it also has really cool blinkers, but I'll show you that in a little bit. We also have a front fork. So this is one of the big upgrades that people have been asking for, is a suspension fork that they put on from the XPedition 1.0 to the 2.0. It now is a 50 millimeter of travel. It's not really high, but you don't really need it. You just need just enough to help absorb some of those extra bumps and cracks in the road that will help make it a lot more smoother for the riders. As we move up, you notice nice cable management coming around here, everything nice and tight. You do also have a foldable neck as you come here. See, you can bring this down. So if you do have maybe an SUV you want to put this into, you have the ability to actually bring down the handlebars quite a bit, and a multi-adjustment neck point here as well. By flipping this up here, I won't be able to flip it because I have actually my water bottle strapped on, but you can flip it up. You can easily adjust this from rider to rider very quickly and bring it forward and back. And that is because you can have so much height adjustments on the rider. The reach is equally fast to adjust to make sure each rider can be as comfortable as possible very quickly when changing between different riders here. Now, I don't know if it's going to come with this bottle cage holder, but it does come with bottle cage bosses to hold like the locks and everything that you have as accessories. This might have been added on just for us to do the test riding that we're doing, but if it doesn't come in it, you can also add easily an attachment here. This is like a water bottle holder. These are actually sold on our website at ebikeproducts.com/shop. You can get one of these. The next part I want to talk about is the new drivetrain upgrade that they've actually put on this. It comes with an 8-gear shifter that's an Altus Shimano derailleur. Now, I wouldn't say the Altus is the premium shifter, but it is a really good shifter. In the past, most of electric bikes were actually all turning derailleurs, which is the lowest of the line of all the derailleurs. Everybody used it. It was actually pretty decent. But when you go moving up into an Altis, you'll actually feel the difference. It is very tactile, as I guess someone put it. You know, it moves right into the places that it needs to very quickly. The trigger shifters that are up on the top are just absolutely amazing. So let me go ahead and show you that here. We have now trigger shifters here. Okay, so with these trigger shifter, what that means is you can keep your hand over the grip without having to bring your thumb over, which, you know, can make your hand come off. So I love that it's right here. This is, you know, to go up and down between. This is to go to your lower gears and then your higher gears, and it's just click, click, click. You're there where you're at. And since we're looking at here, let's go and take a look. We also have the hydraulic handles here. These are like a 3-finger style. These are really nice, really soft. And then they've also have locking grips. So one way you can tell about locking grips is that there's actually a screw on this side. And what that means is that no matter how much you're trying to pull or push, it will not move. And that, for some bikes, you know, that has been an issue where it feels like your grips are always slipping. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this dash that we have here. They have a new nice color display. Now you're probably going to see some flickering on the screen, and that is because of the frame rate, but we'll go ahead and get some closer look into this. But it's, as you can see, just a nice, really clear display. Your speed, your PS levels going up and down, and then of course your mild. And there's a whole bunch of different views that you can have: your trip meter, your voltage, how much you're putting out of your, how much is in your battery, and then of course your current rating, and of course your battery rating here with a lot of different levels. It's almost like 10% per bar that's going down, that you'll be able to see where exactly you are on your battery level. Okay, and as we come a little more to the left here, you can see this is our controller. Very easy. This is controls your PS up and down. So your PS 0 all the way up to 5. There's 5 different levels.
Steve here. I'm just going to do some commentary on this because I have the 1.0. I've had that basically when it first came out. And I've been riding my kids to and from school every single day. So there's a few things that I noticed that I really liked with this. We'll start at the front. It has a bigger light. I don't know why. I don't ride a whole lot at night, but I really do like a bigger light. The brakes seem to be, they just feel a lot better, a little bit more sturdy too. More responsive, and I think Chris mentioned they're buttery, you know, like when you squeeze on them, they work really well. I like the new display, and then an option to put the bike lock down at the bottom. I did look at the new Orbiter. It's not on here, but there's a lot more clearance. And I guess since this backside's a little bit longer, it just made it more safe. And then also the kickstand. This one right now, it's a little bit harder, a little bit stiffer to get on and off, but I was told that that's adjustable, so I'm not too worried there. But what I do like, and I think it's very important, is that it is a wider stand and it has more of a bigger base at the feet of the stand. This actually feels a lot more sturdy compared to the previous one. And also the locking the locking grips, because sometimes they would spin, and that has been an issue for me. So when Chris mentioned that was really important, just for comfort. Other than that, turn signal, I thought that's pretty fancy. I mean, I think those are the biggest changes. It was still just as good. The tires were perfect. They're perfectly meant for street and sidewalk biking, everything that I do. And I really like the upgrades that they did.
Okay, so before I close out the video, I just really wanted to say, if you're thinking about a cargo bike and you're wondering which size battery you should get, because honestly, this is going to be the best value of a cargo bike probably for 2025. All the way through the end of the year, is that this is the bike that you probably want to consider. Now, if you're watching this video at the launch, it's going to be a great time because the Black Friday deals, the extra accessories you're going to get. But if you're considering the battery size, here's something to think about. Batteries are really expensive. In some cases, some batteries cost almost half the price of the bike. But as Lectric has 3 different battery size options that are going to be coming on their shipments, the first is going to be one single 13 amp hour battery at $1,400. Now, that's just a single one. You probably get about up to 75-mile range max. And now if you go with the dual 13 amp hour battery, it's going to be $1,699. So for just $300 more, you're going to get this bike that can go up to 150 miles, almost double the range on that. But they also have this option right now for 17.5 dual amp hour battery, which is a total of 35 amp hours. So what does that mean? It means you're going to get over 200-mile range. And the other thing is something to keep in mind that a lot of people don't really think about when they're talking about battery size, or especially when they call it dual batteries. The higher your voltage stays on the drain, like say if you have a total of 54 volts and it's a long term that you're actually riding, because you have 2 large batteries, it's going to be slower that the voltage will start to drop on the battery as it begins to drain, which means you will sustain higher power, more torque, more speed with the larger batteries in place. So I often think of this like the analogy of when people are actually buying phones. Oh, should I actually buy a phone with the larger space or a hard drive on a computer? Should I buy one with a larger space hard drive? And you know, it's like there's very few people have ever said I shouldn't have bought that bike with a bigger battery. That they should have saved it and bought a cheaper one, because in the long run, those batteries are going to be something that you're always going to have anxiety about. You don't have to charge these large 35 amp hour batteries as often. You can just wait on it. So something to keep in mind. You may want to just invest in that extra $100 or a few $100 at $19.99 for a 35 amp hour bike. That's huge, and 200-mile range. And the bike that you're getting all together anyway is just a great bike. I would highly recommend looking into that. And that's going to be my opinion. So, you know, it depends. It's really up to you. I know it's a lot of money to spend on any e-bike, but when you get that kind of range and you're getting a quality bike, plus their support is US based. I know I'm gushing all over Lectric, but they are really one of the best companies, if not the best e-bike company, in my opinion, out there on the market. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.